Hey guys, how y'all doing today? I hope that your day has gone well. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between GMO and non-GMO / organic foods. Okay, there's a lot of different foods that have been genetically modified, and we're going to talk about what that means. But anything from apples to the meat that we eat has been tampered with in one way or another outside of what we would normally consider natural, okay, that grows naturally from the earth. Now, some people think that's bad, some people think that's good, and that there's reasoning for doing it. I have my opinion on it, but I'm going to save that till the end of the video. If you want to hear my opinion, you can listen to it. If not, you can stop the video at that time. But for now, we're going to go with just kind of as non-biased as possible. It's hard to find information on this that's not biased. But just try to get some facts put together, okay? And then you can assess your own opinion about it. And maybe you can go experiment and read and study and learn more on your own. Because I certainly can't explain everything to you in this short video. But I want to give you a quick rundown, okay? And please be patient with me, as I'm probably going to pronounce some things wrong. And I'm not a scientist, so I'm just a normal dude living my normal life, trying to be normal and healthy. Okay. So let's go through this. We're just gonna do a lot of reading together. I've got a lot of tabs pulled open here. Okay. When you're done watching the video, at the bottom you'll see in the description I will have all of these links and some extras put in there for you to go through and look at. There are also documentaries and all kinds of things you can find online. But I highly recommend being educated on this. So let's take a look at what these are. Right now I'm on non-gmo-report.com. What is non-GMO? What are genetically modified foods? Non-GMO means non-genetically modified organisms. GMOs, or genetically modified organisms, are novel organisms created in a laboratory using genetic modification engineering techniques. Scientists and consumer and environmental groups have cited many health and environmental risks with foods containing GMOs. As a result, many people in the United States and around the world are demanding non-GMO foods. Okay, genetically modified foods. Let's talk about those in particular. In genetic modification or engineering of food plants, scientists remove one or more genes from the DNA of another organism, such as bacterium, virus, animal, or plant, and recombine them into the DNA of the plant they want to alter. Okay, so they're taking it out of something and putting it into something else. By adding these new genes, genetic engineers hope the plant will express the traits associated with the genes. For example, genetic engineers have transferred genes from a bacterium known as Bacillus. I don't know what this second word is, but we're going to go with the BT for short. Okay, Bacillus thuringiensis, or whatever, BT, into the DNA of corn. Okay, so they've transferred this gene from something else and put it into corn. BT genes express a protein that kills insects. And transferring the genes allows the corn to produce its own pesticide, therefore making it so that when the insects try to eat this food, they die. Okay? Or it repels it, I don't know, something. It makes it so that they can't eat it. Sounds like a good idea, right? I can see the logic behind it, actually. But I don't know if it's a good idea to be messing with the DNA and genes of foods and living organisms. Now, these guys are, of course, leaning towards GMO being bad. And there's some information here that's good. I think it's good to understand both sides of the story, to be truly educated and not be biased, but just try to learn what's best. And so, I read through this stuff. There are some studies they've done down here that I find interesting about rats, and whatnot. Okay, so we've read a little bit here from non-gmo-report.com. From the Non-GMO Project website, they pretty much state the same thing. A GMO, or genetically modified organism, is a plant, animal, or microorganism or other organism whose genetic makeup has been modified using recombinant DNA methods, also called gene splicing. Gene modification, or transgenic technology. This relatively new science creates unstable combinations of plant, animal, bacterial, and viral genes that do not occur in nature or through traditional crossbreeding methods. Okay, so basically what they mean by crossbreeding methods, we'll should read more about that later on in another tab, but we've done crossbreeding in the past, which has been like minor GMOing, genetically modifying. You kind of make a verb out of GMO, the different foods and products. But now we're actually taking genes out of things, you know, in laboratories and whatnot. Interesting stuff. Okay. These guys talk about, are they safe? This is an anti-GMO deal here. So this is interesting though. Most developed nations do not consider GMOs to be safe, which is true. You can look that up, and have significant restrictions or outright bans on the production and sale of the GMOs. The US and Canadian governments though have approved GMOs based on studies conducted by the same corporations that created them and profit from their sale. Companies like Monsanto. Okay, we'll read more about that. Now we're gonna come over here and we're going to talk a little bit about something else, okay? Many of you have probably seen these non-GMO project verified labels and these USDA organic labels, okay? So we're going to read about those. Just to sum up, we've learned about what a GMO is, and that there's products out there that are non-GMO still. These labels help you understand if something is GMO or not. And there are some differences here to what is what each label signifies and what it means and stands for. So you'll see these two labels generally on something if you want to get something that's non-GMO. Now, before I go deeper into those two labels though, I want to go over a few other things. But just remember that these labels signify that there's the product is non-GMO or organic. Okay, organic meaning it's non-GMO, but even more. But we'll go over that. Okay. Let's jump over here. Okay, I'm on learn.genetics.utah.edu. .edu. I call them edu because it's fun. These guys have kind of an unbiased opinion, I think. Well, it leans more towards that we should have genetically modified foods, and we'll read a little bit here. Okay. I'm not trying to bore you, okay, but to be informational, sometimes it's a little boring. But unless you're like me and you find this stuff fascinating. Genetically modified foods. What would you do in the following situations? You are a tomato farmer whose crops are threatened by a persistent species of beetle. Each year you spend large sums of money for pesticides to protect your crops. A biotechnology company introduces a new strain of tomato plant that produces a natural pesticide, making it resistant to the beetle. By switching to this new strain, you could avoid both the beetle and the chemical pesticides traditionally needing to fight it. As a family physician, you often treat children who suffer from infectious diseases that could easily be prevented through vaccination. But the parents of many of your patients cannot afford the cost of vaccinations. You hear of a new approach that would reduce the cost to a fraction of its current price: genetically modified fruits and vegetables that contain various vaccines. By simply eating a banana, a child could protect against disease without getting a shot. Sounds cool, right? Anyways, so you see they're trying to say there's ways to change things, and we're going to modify things. Okay. Our ability to manipulate plants by introducing new genes promises innovative solutions to these and many other real-world problems. Yet there is considerable opposition to the use of genetically modified plants for food production and other uses. Genetic engineering offers a time-saving method for producing larger, higher quality crops with less effort and expense. Yet such benefits must be balanced against the risks of changing the genetic makeup of organisms. What are those risks, and how likely are they to occur? In order to define them, we need to understand the science of plant genetic engineering. Okay, and they go into a bunch of stuff. So you can see here that, okay, I can see why that could be a good idea, maybe. You know, I'm open-minded. Let's listen to what you have to say. I got open ears. Okay, so there's some good information in here if you want to read about that and understand this side of the argument. Now, I think down here it talks a little bit benefits versus risks of genetically modifying. So it is kind of unbiased. Okay, so it's kind of a cool page though. Now this page, let me look here. Yeah, we'll read this one. This one is interesting. And there's a lot of people that are really anti-GMO. And I'll be honest, I personally am anti-GMO. But I'm leaving that opinion for the end, and why. But I want to leave that out of it for now. And I'm just reading other things to you from people, okay? Here's something by Kevin Van A-List. A-List, I don't know how you say it. Credit, for the video, sorry. By David H. Friedman. Man, I can't read today. I'm goofing up. Told you to be patient with me, remember, from the beginning, to forgive me if I screw up. I'm not a perfect person, okay? Sorry if I let you down. This picture, that's kind of funny. Genetically modified apple are gonna eat you up. But the truth about genetically modified food. Proponents of genetically modified crops say the technology is the only way to feed a warming, increasing populous world. Critics say we tamper with nature at our peril. Who is right? Well, yeah, who is right? In brief, the vast majority of the research on genetically modified crops suggest that they are safe to eat and that they have the potential to feed millions of people worldwide who currently go hungry. Yet not all criticisms of GM are so easily rejected, and pro-GM scientists are often dismissive and even unscientific in their rejection of the counter-evidence. Now read that carefully. Yet not all criticisms of GM are so easily rejected, and pro-GM scientists are often dismissive and even unscientific in their rejection of the counter-evidence. Okay, I found that to be kind of true in a lot of the documentaries I've watched. A careful analysis of the risks and benefits argues for expanded deployment and safety testing of GM crops. Robert Goldberg sags into his desk chair and gestures at the air. Yeah, this guy goes off into this story, okay? But basically, to sum it up, this guy talks about how he was a scientist back, ways, and he says, today we're facing the same problems we faced 40 years ago. David Williams, a cellular biologist who specializes in vision, has the opposite complaint. A lot of naive science has been involved in pushing this technology. He says, 30 years ago we didn't know that when you throw any gene into a different genome, the genome reacts to it. But now anyone in this field knows the genome is not a static environment. And static, if you don't know what static means that it doesn't change. It stays static, it's solid, it doesn't alter. And so they're seeing that it's not static, it changes. So inserted genes can be transformed by several different means, and it can happen generations later. The results, he insists, could very well be potentially toxic. Plants slipping through testing. I think he screwed up there. Whatever. This one's interesting too. He talks about people who defend. He says that biologists who point out health or other risks associated with GM crops, who merely report or defend experimental findings that imply there may be risks, find themselves the focus of vicious attacks on their credibility, which leads scientists who see problems with GM foods kept quiet. That's interesting, because I've seen a lot of that in some documentaries and other things I've read as well. And, I just don't think people are making that up. But anyways, I'm trying to be unbiased right now. Now, we read this one. Here's another one. Genetically modified foods. Genetically modified foods are made up of organisms, known as GMOs for genetically modified organisms, which have been genetically altered for improvement. Biotechnology giant Monsanto is a primary maker of genetically modified seeds, responsible for 90% of the genetically engineered seed on the United States market. Wow, that's a huge claim that these guys are making right here. The touted reasons for genetically modifying foods vary from making a fruit larger and seedless to resisting pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides. Millions of dollars are invested in this bioengineering process annually by many, with Bill Gates most notably investing into Monsanto with 500,000 shares. But are GMO foods really the solution to humanity's problems, or are they negatively affecting virtually all life on planet Earth? So you can go to this website and read more down in here if you want. naturalsociety.com/genetically modified foods. Like I said, I'll have these links down in the description. Okay, so far in this video, we've learned a lot about GMOs, what they are, why scientists are trying to genetically modify foods. And, it's hard because we as people don't a lot of the times know what's really going on behind the scenes. And, you want to just believe everybody and think that everybody's out to protect us and keep us safe. you know, in a perfect world, that would be fantastic. But we got to be careful. But anyways, we can see the differences here and why they do it. Now, let's talk about if you're somebody who wants to eat organic and non-GMO, what you can do, okay? Or how to. So you want to look for these symbols like we talked about earlier, okay? But now we're to the point where I want to talk about the differences between these two labels. So you come down here and we can see key differences between the labels. So if you see this USDA organic or non-GMO project verified sign, you'll know what it means now. If it says USDA organic, it covers all this criteria. It prohibits GMOs in all aspects of farming and processing. Check, check. Trustworthy way to avoid GMOs. Check, check on both of these again. Verification is maintained. Check, check. Test for GMO residue at multiple levels of production. No check, but we got to check. Okay, so you can pretty well bet your money that if you're getting something with this non-GMO project verified label on it that's been slapped on there, it means it's verified from them, it ain't a GMO food. But let's look at what else USDA Organic does. It prohibits the use of chemicals and synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, prohibits antibiotic and synthetic hormone use for animals. Okay, that's a whole nother topic we could talk about. It's regulated by federal law. Whether that's good or not, I can't tell you. Prohibits artificial coloring, flavoring, and preservatives. Requires animals eat only organic feed and pasture. So I mean, these guys, this is a legit symbol. This means it's all organic. It's not, everything's got to be done right. Okay. Now you got to put in the factor that man is doing this and man is not perfect. Okay. But the bottom line is this is good. USD Organic's good. Actually, let's say this. Non-GMO is good. USD Organic is better. When you find a product that has both of these on it, that's best. Okay, that's definitely the best. So that's what you want to see if you're someone who's trying to eat organic and non-GMO. Want to see this? You want to see both. You know, if you see this, you're still doing pretty good. So I hope that helps you understand those differences. I didn't know that difference for a while. When I first started, you know, quite a few years ago, changing my health diet, I didn't know the difference between those. But there is a difference. So there we have it. We've gone over all this stuff, okay? And just to recap, we learned what a GMO is, learned the difference. Sorry if I'm repeating myself a lot, guys. Bear with me, okay? I just want to make sure that you understand this. We learned the difference between GMO, non-GMO, non-GMO project verified symbols, USD organic. We can see that there is an argument on both sides of the fence saying, hey, we should have GMOs because these things are happening in the world. And you have these other guys saying, hey, we have these, you guys are messing with food and it's actually worse and causing health risks. And there haven't been enough tests done. And there's evidence saying that this is harmful and whatnot. And that all the pesticides and the Roundup and everything they're using is bad. Now, I'm also going to put a link to another YouTube video by another YouTube channel that goes off that's very pro-organic. I would encourage you to watch that if you sit on either side of this fence, because it is very informational and they have good citations. But I'll put that down below for you to have that link to share that. Or I'll share that link so you can see that. And now I'm going to give you my opinion. So if you care about my opinion, check it out. Even if you don't care, listen anyway. Or if you really just don't want to hear it, that's fine. That's cool. I don't mind. I'm not the center of the universe. But my opinion is that we need to eat as close to nature as possible from all the studying I've done. And we should be eating foods that are as organic as we can get them. And if you're a person that believes in evolution, I would presume that you would want to do that as well, because as our planet evolves, and as humans evolve, as animals evolve, as plants evolve, we all evolve together. There's a lot of science behind that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to go into a lot of that. And I ain't no scientist. I just read a lot. But the bottom line is, in my opinion, you want to eat organic. And I will go into what I'm about to say in just a minute. I'm going to have another video about this specifically, kind of like my past and why I've changed my diet. But I used to have really bad cystic acne. Okay, it was so bad you couldn't even feel the jawline on my face. It was just giant infections all over. I couldn't sleep at night because it hurt so bad. I had to lay on my back, and I'm the kind of person that can't sleep on my back. I'm not comfortable like that. But I had to. But through changing my diet, like I said, I'm not going to go into details. I've been able to get rid of all of it, and my complexion's cleared up, and I feel way better. I have more energy. Mentally, I'm beasting it compared to how I used to be. But to bring it into this topic now about GMO and non-GMO, if I eat an apple that is a GMO apple, or it doesn't have any of the non-GMO project or USD organic symbols on them, okay? So whatever they've done to the apple, if I eat that apple, I will break out. And I don't just break out kind of, I get big old cysts. They're not just like a little zit. I know it sounds kind of gross, okay, but it is what it is. It's what I've had to battle. But fruits in general, I'm just using an apple for example. Fruits, if I have GMO fruits, I break out. Okay, so I avoided fruits for a long time. Well, I started eating organic fruits, and I don't break out. If I have a fruit that is got the USDA organic symbol on it, I don't break out. Okay, this is just my own testimony among many, but there's something going on. Okay, and when I'm breaking out, what that means is that there's things in my body that my body does not like, and it's getting it out through my skin. Okay, it's getting it out of my body. It says, no, I don't like this. So it manifests in a breakout. My body doesn't want to digest it. It ejects it. So there's something in those fruits that's screwing me up. Maybe it's the pesticides. Maybe it's all the stuff they spray on it, you know. Maybe it is because it's been genetically modified. I don't know. What I think would be interesting, I wish that they would do, and maybe they do, but I haven't found it, but there should be a label that says GMO product, but grown organically. So we've altered this product, this food, but we haven't sprayed anything on it, and it's been grown in natural soil and tended to organically. Then we could really know if GMO is good or bad. A lot of these tests are done with Roundup and other things done, and I'm like, wow, why don't we get rid of the Roundup? Why don't we get rid of all the pesticides and herbicides and everything else, and just try to do it with GMO? Anyways, that's my take on it, guys. So I kind of push the organic, but you know, I don't judge people. We all do. We all have our own beliefs, and you know what? Maybe someday they will be able to change. You know, do a GMO product and have it be good. I don't think that you can, but I don't know what I don't know. You know, I'm willing to admit that. But anyways, I hope this video has been informational for you. I know it's been kind of long and stuff, but if you're interested in this kind of thing, I think that you will find this interesting. These are the differences. And if you're new, you know, to this world, this is a good introduction to what's going on. And I encourage everybody to go out and research more, because it's important. This is our planet we're talking about. This is the place we live. It's like our house and our health. So we need to be conscious of that. But once again, thanks for watching my video, guys. Please give me a thumbs up. If you give me a thumbs down, tell me why. Don't just give me a thumbs down and leave me hanging. You know, if you just don't like the way I present the content, if you don't like my voice, if you're just mad at me because I'm getting involved in organics, you know, tell me. At least I know why you're giving me a thumbs down. If you like it and give me a thumbs up, tell me why you like it. You know, I want to know, and I want to improve. And I know I can't make everybody happy, and this is highly controversial, but you know, I'm sorry about that, but it's just the way it is. So anyways, you guys have a great night, live happy, and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Peace out.